Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, August the 14th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. We made it through another week, and I say it every week. Every week is harder than the week before, it seems like, but we're still here, so I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube, where we're going to go over methane and sea ice and climate-related items. So we're going to start off with Climate Reanalyzer, just an overview of what's going on around the world. And here's our maximum temperatures for today. We're seeing some blues, like these aquas come in around the Arctic. Here's one near the North Pole, and here's some over the Beaufort Sea. So those are around freezing, and then the greens are still above freezing. Lots of greens there. Then here in North America, we've got the whites, which are 40 C or higher, which is around 100 degrees or higher, 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, still from Texas up through the Midwest, and some in the Southwest here, from Arizona to California and so on. Here's the flat view. Here's whites throughout Brazil. Here's Africa. It's actually gone down as far as the area that's showing the hot temperatures, but there's still plenty of areas with the hot temperatures. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly for today, and we can see all these browns around the Russia coastline and over the Arctic Ocean, and here over Kamchatka. Look at Alaska and all this northern Canada region, then it comes down through the middle of the United States, and then blues right next to it. That's because the cold air is not being held in. There's no jet stream anymore, it's just jet loops that let the cold air out from the Arctic. Still got heavy browns from Ireland and UK all the way over into Russia. Here's the flat view. See all this side from Ireland and UK all the way. That's all in the browns. Worldwide, we're up 0.2 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.8 C. The Arctic is up 0.9 C. The Antarctic is down 3.2 C, lower than normal. The southern hemisphere is down 0.4 C. The tropics are up 0.2 C. Here's precipitation and clouds. The green is rain, and the blue is snow, and we've seen some kind of rain somewhere in this Arctic region every single day this week, and we still have it here in quadrant 1, and a little bit here in the North Kara Sea as well. And see, we've got rain in the North Baffin Bay, and rain over a lot of Alaska. And so as temperatures heat up, we'll see more and more rain in this Arctic region, which is not good, because that means that that'll melt the ice that much faster, and then heats everything up that much faster, and then there'll be more rain and so forth. So it's a self-reinforcing feedback loop there. Here's a flat view. Rain around the world. Lots of flooding. Just unbelievable flooding all around the globe. Here are the jet loops. I don't call it a jet stream anymore. See these huge loopy things? And then the cold air swoops down in between. Here's another loop. So we've got double loops here over the northern hemisphere. We've got double loops from Africa up to, and then here's the southern hemisphere all broken up. Then we've got one trying to form around the equator region. We'll look at sea ice and snow cover in the slideshow. This is sea surface temperature anomaly. This is the latest data from Friday, and see all the browns and reds and pinks. More and more in this Arctic region, wherever the ice has melted. Just within a few days, the water goes into at least the tan color. So the dark brown is about 3C higher than normal. The bright red's about 5C, and the light pink is 6C. But we're actually seeing temperatures higher than that, but that's their chart only goes to 6C higher than normal. I think they need to redo it. And here's the blob, or the evil eye, in the North Pacific. It's still red around Kamchatka, and red and brown coming across the Atlantic. And we also are seeing warm waters off the west coast here, California mainly. Normally we don't see it like that. Well, I mean, we have in the past, but this is a concern. Here's a flat view. Here's the Mediterranean. There's the Black Sea, Caspian, Persian Gulf, and so on. And in this view, we can see the Pacific a little better. And that red part is spreading out here in the blob. See? It's not an eye formation anymore. Looks like a rocket ship. Then here's the brown next to California. And then brown in the South Pacific. And we've got brown in the equatorial Pacific. This is in the Galapagos Islands regions. Worldwide, we're up 0.5 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.8 C. The North Atlantic and North Pacific are both up 0.9 C. Southern hemisphere is up 0.2 C. And the equatorial Pacific is down 0.2 C. So there's that. Now we'll move on to methane. First off, on the 9th in the afternoon, and I tracked the 469 millibar reading. The high reading, see in this range, we had a spike to 3009 parts per billion, and we don't know where that happened exactly, just somewhere in this pink zone. And there's a lot of pink. We even have pink in the south part here. This pink color, this range is between 2000 and then whatever is the high reading. Here it's 3009 parts per billion. So I wanted to show that. So I have 2 days worth of methane data from NOAA to show. We're going to look at Friday and Saturday. So here we are, Friday the 12th in the morning for the MET-OP-B, our MET-OP-1 satellite, and the 469 millibar reading. The mean or average was 1938 parts per billion. The high reading was 2362. In the afternoon, the mean was 1938 again, and the high reading was 2367. And then yesterday, the 13th in the morning, the mean was 1938. The high reading was 2427. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1937. And the high reading was 2334. Here's the spreadsheet and chart. So for the 13th, that averages out to be 1937.5 parts per billion, giving us a decrease this week of 1.5. And so we got a little peak where we ended up last week at 1939, and then a little line going down. And you know, that's okay. We'll see it stair-stepping, but it's still on the rise. It'll be on the rise till around probably October. We're still 14.5 parts per billion higher than we were a year ago, and we're 68 parts per billion higher than when I started this March the 1st of 2019. So you can see every year we go higher than the year before, and then the lows are not as low as the year before. So that gives you a constant upward trend. So let's see what happened this week. Here we were in the show last week. We were at 1939, and that was Saturday. And then Sunday it went down 1.5. Monday it went back up 1.5. Tuesday it went up 0.5. Wednesday was our highest. It went up 1.5. And we were at 1941. So we broke the 1940 mark, this line. We were above it this week at 1941. And then on the 11th it went down 0.5. Then the 12th it went down 2.5. And then the 13.5. So here on the 11th, we were 19 parts per billion higher than a year ago. So, I mean, we're setting records every day, and I'm going to keep bringing this up now that I realized every day we're setting methane records because we're higher than the year before every single day. And so this was just a little stair step. I anticipate it shooting up now. And now we'll go over to cams. We're going to look at Saturday the 13th, Arctic view, and surface level here. Here's our color ledger. The data is for Saturday, and the forecast period is Sunday through Wednesday. So we've got really super high readings from Norway over to Russia again. See, this is kind of a constant problem area. And see how it's streaming out in the Barents and Kara Seas. We still have high readings in the interior of Russia, and look at this around Komsomolets. You know, when are they gonna go do something like get a drone over it, unless the methane's so high that it would sink and fall in the ocean. Look at that. I've never seen it like that. So it starts out, see, right around Komsomolets and separate spot in the North Kara Sea. But look at it by Wednesday. I mean, there must just be blowouts coming from the seafloor constantly. Look at that. Look at that on Wednesday. That's awful. So, my thought is that's where those highest readings are coming from. That's my thought. And see these higher background colors moving out across the Arctic. Now a lot of this is coming up through the sea ice. Look at this one right here. Here's Alaska. Here's Canada. See, that's coming to life. Look at huge blobby areas. Here's our problem spot off the coast of Newfoundland. That's still percolating. It's still popping off on Iceland. See, north and south ends. We've got higher readings here in southern Russia, next to China. Alright, now we'll go to the North Pole view. Here we can see most of the northern hemisphere. Here's the UK and Ireland. This has been looking really bad this whole week. A couple of days there, I mean, the blob was just way out, streaming out from the islands. Look at that. Persian Gulf, here's India, China, North and South Korea. Here's the US. Let's see. California. Look at this wave. See the green wave moving across the Pacific. And at times we've seen a wave moving off of, see, right there, see the green? That's moving off of California, off the coast. So we're under the methane dome. Here's Mexico. It's filling up, see. Now we'll go to the global view. And in the southern hemisphere, the majority of the background color is 1860 parts per billion. We're seeing some of the lower reading here in the Indian Ocean and in the Pacific. That's 1840. And a little bit creeping in here in the Pacific. That's just with methane going down. Just like 2 or 3 parts per billion. We can see it change in the overall background color. There's that. And then 500 HPA, that's about halfway up in the atmosphere. Look at that. Here's heavy, it's coming up across Russia. And then this is Japan all the way over, heavy across China, Southern Asia, India, Pakistan, all the way across to Saudi Arabia and up into Egypt there, and then heavy up here over the Arctic Ocean, and then over northern Canada, and here over the blob. See, at 500 HPA we've got a heavy reading. That's the vicinity of the evil eye on the sea surface temperature anomaly. And see these reds coming further south. And then total column. Look at this. Look at this all the way across. That's heaviest Japan all the way across. Well into Africa. That's awful. I wanted to show a little ozone movie real quick. We're going to go to the Antarctic view. This is for today. Now, we've had some days where this has been down into the danger zone this week, and that's in this kind of purplish blue color. And when that comes in, there's a big thick black line around it when it shows up, showing that that's the danger zone, and that's between 200 and 220 Dobson units. The aqua is 220 to 240. That's this color, quite a bit of aqua. Then the next color up is this green, that's 240 to 260. And then the bright green is 260 to 280. And then the yellow green is 280 to 300. Solid yellow is 300 Dobson units and above, 300 to 320. And so that's considered average or good, at least yellow. And so the whole, it's been dark down here for a few months now over the Antarctic, and so the ozone is thinned way out. I want to run the movie and show what it's going to do this week. More aqua. See, here's danger zone. Here's another one. See, these holes are just popping up. That's where it thins out. And there at the end, it goes down another level, down to 175 to 200 Dobson units. So remember, this is the forecast. The data is for Sunday. See, and here's the danger zone hole on the north end, and here's the purple, and here's more of the regular blue. That's lower than the purple, bluish purple. And so we've got one forming here on the north end, then another one forming on this western edge. So it's quite thin. So That's what ozone is doing in the Antarctic. It's quite thin. So there's that. Now we'll go on with this slideshow. Now this is from Cairns. This is the smoke from the wildfires. It's calmed way down. I mean, this is not anything like last year. We are showing some smoke coming across. This is the Laptev Sea coming up, and then here coming up in Russia. These are where fires are. We also have some smoke coming across Canada here. And here's sulfur dioxide today. We had a release high reading here yesterday over Ecuador, and this is just hanging around. Not sure what the cause of it was, whether it was volcanic or earthquake related or combo plate. We also have higher reading down here in the South Indian Ocean, and here coming off of South Africa. Here's 500 HPA. So we can see it's still high off the coast of South America. Now that's in the Galapagos region, the islands there. And also down here in the Philippines. And that looks like it's volcano related to me, just from the shape of it. Also a little bit higher reading here at Kamchatka, that's volcanoes. We already saw Antarctic ozone. Here's the Arctic ozone, and it's really thinning out. See the green? Huge area, and then the next color down is right there in the Laptev Sea. So almost from the North Pole over to the Russia coastline, and then across Siberia, and then notice it's getting thinning out over Alaska and part of the Beaufort Sea, a lot of Canada here. Then the green's coming down all the way into the US. It's really thinning out. Here's the global view. Not much thick ozone at all. A little bit down here next to South America in reds. Here around the Indian Ocean, a little a little bit of red in the northern hemisphere, but a lot of greens and greenish tinge. And I took some earthquake pictures today, a little earlier today. 214 worldwide today. And see this line along the South America coast. We had 2 6s here in the South Pacific, and this is in 24-hour period. Look, this was a 4 something, on this Antarctic tectonic line, and this is a 5, that's a 4, that's a 5 something here in China, in force. Here's a 5 at Turkey. Here's a 5 something in the Aleutian Islands. And we had an Arctic earthquake near Jan Mayen. Here's Greenland. Here's Iceland. This is Jan Mayen is a little tiny island about halfway in between Iceland and Svalbard. And so sometimes we see earthquake activity here. So this was a 4.2, and this came in today at 12:33 in the afternoon Pacific time. Here's the South Pacific. This was a 6.6 south of the Kermadec Islands. This came in at 6:44 this morning. And then here's a 6.2 southeast of the Loyalty Islands, and this came in at 2:04 this afternoon. So, yeah, we haven't seen any 6s in a while. Okay, now we'll get that one ready. We'll move on to sea ice. Close that. Close that. I'm going to start with our slideshow. These are images I download from Climate Reanalyzer every day. This is sea ice and snow cover. Hudson Bay is open. Baffin Bay is open. Just a little wisp of ice right there. And this archipelago region is melting quickly. The southern part is all opened up. You see, that's all melted. Here, we're watching the collapse of the Beaufort Sea, Chukchi Sea, and also this East Siberian Sea, and up here, this Laptev Sea. All of these are just disintegrating before our eyes. There's been rain up in these regions this week, and you can see evidence of that. See the darker colors, meaning that it's thinner and there's lots of open water in between the pieces of ice. And look at how this Laptev Sea is opened up. And look, this circle here, huge area, and this Russia coastline is opened up, and this Alaska and Canada coastline, that's wide open. So let's see what happened this week. Here we were last Sunday, the 7th. We'll just click through. Here's Monday. Wow, look at that. Sunday, Monday. Look at the difference here from Canada up. Tuesday, and see, got the whole opening up here. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then today. there's that. And we'll move on to the other models. This is from the U.S. Navy. It's Arctic sea ice thickness. This is updated to today. And our color ledger, not going to see, if we see any reds, it'll just be a little dot. It's mainly lavender and purple, some blues, and then this aqua. This is what's left of the thicker sea ice at this point. And the bright aqua, it's about 2 meters thick. The dark aqua is about 1.5 meters thick. So we can see it's thinning, mainly just thinning, and it's moving apart. And as it moves apart, it spreads out, and I think that's why the extent is as much as it is, because it's just spreading apart. It's not regrowing. Not yet. Still melting. Okay, let's zoom in here. Alright. We've got a hole that's opened up along the Greenland coastline here on the north end. Here's the North Pole. That's in dark blue and into purple, so that's about 1 meter thick. And then you can see all these different shades of aqua as it's coming apart and deteriorating. And this western edge, there's a line here where it's kind of breaking off and it's just disintegrating. And you can also see the darker areas over here above Ellesmere Island. This is where it's all breaking apart and disintegrating as well. And then just small areas where it's the lighter aqua. And then in these tributaries, see the light lavender. That's just almost not there. It's just nothing ice. Just barely there. But they count it. So a lot of thinning here in the Beaufort Sea. A lot of this is cleared out this week. And then really thin here in Quadrant 1. Quadrant 2, not a lot of change. About the same, just less extent and more thinning, and so on. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to yesterday, so the data goes back 3 weeks, and forecast period goes out to next Saturday, the 20th. Now it will keep melting. It's probably going to slow down on the melt. Usually it starts slowing down around mid-August, and then around mid-September is when we reach the minimum extent. And then the refreeze starts. but every year is different, and you know, the dynamics change every year. We have more and more salinity from the oceans coming up, the Atlantic Ocean coming up into the Arctic, and also from the Pacific through the Bering Strait. We have more and more mixing, so there's more salinity, and so that changes the dynamics of the ice. And salt water freezes at a lower temperature than fresh water. So we also have the warm water underneath the ice, so there's no buffer because it's so thin. And so even when we reach minimum extent, it can keep melting from underneath. We've seen that in the past. So if you're just going on extent, that's not the full picture. So you can see this really whittling down here above Canada. Okay, here we are at the end of the model. This is on next Saturday. Look how this hole is bigger above Greenland. And more dark aqua and more lines where it's breaking up. And see, this is just still disintegrating here on this western side. And more thinning. So it's possible that we'll keep some layer of slush. It doesn't mean it's good ice or healthy ice or it's anything that the polar bears could use to go fishing on. They wouldn't even be able to get out on it. So that's the majority of the ice, is what we have, is just slushy pieces with lots of space between, lots of open water. And we're working on latent heat. Once it reaches a certain point, then it heats up really fast. So there's that. Here's the Beaufort sea ice thickness. Here's Alaska at the bottom. Here's Canada. And so this is the Beaufort Sea. And we can see these white areas, that's open water. It's just still thinning. And see, here's where it's coming apart on this western edge. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to today, so the forecast period goes out to next Sunday. So we can see as this ice kind of diminishes, it's also sliding down the ice drift, and the movement of the gyre pulls it down towards this Beaufort Sea and into the gyre. And then sometimes the ice drift will come and push this ice back over towards the coastline, and then the ice starts going down these tributaries. So a lot of sloshing back and forth. You've got the winds, you've got the waves. I mean, this ice has to deal with a lot. So there's that. Here's the Antarctic for today. Again, sea ice thickness. Here in the Weddell Sea, we can see it's thickening more. We're moving into some greens. That's about 3 meters thick. We've got a little fringe of yellow. And here's a little spot of red on the west side. And some aquas around the coastlines. It's thickening up a little. And the extent has come out a little more. This regrowth is way under average and way under last year. Here's the 30-day animation, and this was updated to yesterday, so the forecast period goes out to next Saturday. So mainly thickening. Okay, moving on. This is from the National Snow and Ice Data Center. This is yesterday. Arctic sea ice concentration. So where you see the blues, that's where it's coming apart and melting. So this matches up with the Navy model, and also Climate Reanalyzer. See this dark blue? There's a big hole opening up there and all the way up. And see, this is darker blue all the time. We're watching the collapse of, really, this Beaufort Sea is collapsing, the Chukchi Sea, and so on. And there's only a small area that's in the white. It's considered concentrated. And here's the extent chart. The blue line is this year, the gray line is median, the dotted line is 2012. Now, we had kind of leveled off for a couple of days, but now it looks like the line is headed back down a little steeper angle. Here's the Antarctic, and this brown line, that's the median. Here's the chart for the regrowth. This blue line is this year. Uh-oh. Looks like it's stalled out. It's almost a flat line there for the last couple of days. The grayish green line, that's last year. And the gray line is the median. Now, typically, it keeps going up until around mid-September. But last year we peaked out at the end of August, and then it started going down. I don't know what's going to happen this year. This is not a good sign to see the kind of leveling off there on August the 13th. You know, a month before it's supposed to be at the maximum. That's not a good sign. Here's the Greenland Melt as of yesterday. That's gone way down. So we just have spotty areas that are melting around the coast, or not the coast, the edges. Southern, western, northern. Here are the cumulative melt days for this year. And see the blue. This is how far in it's melted even. So we're moving, and we've got this bright orange moving into red. So 60 to 70 melt days. Quite a few areas had that. See the reddish orange. Oh, and I want to thank the person who left the link to the Jason Box video talking about why the ice is dark colored once it starts melting. That was a very interesting video. Basically, it's because of algae growing on the ice. That's the bottom line. And so the albedo is lower, so it won't reflect as much sun either, meaning it'll melt faster. So another self-reinforcing feedback loop. Here's the chart for the extent. The red line is this year. We're below the median. The dotted blue line. We're at about 2 to 3% melt right now. That's all of those. Now we're moving on to NASA Worldview, and we're going to start here in the Antarctic. And I wanted to also show y'all that the nighttime layer returned partially a few days ago. Let's see, partially. And in the Arctic and the Antarctic. See, here was yesterday. It's the western side. That's the 13th. Here's the 12th. Look, the whole day, the whole thing on the 11th, partially on the 10th, and then nothing on the 9th. So I don't know what this means. What are they saying? It's the same message. Let's see if they updated. Last update, August 11th. let's see, update. Okay, safe mode update, August 11th. The SNPP high rate data downlink was activated on August 11th, 2022 at 14:35 UTC. Landslips and Lance have started receiving SNP-VIIRS science data since around 1548 UTC yesterday, August 10th. But all product distribution will remain suspended till instrument status and product quality have been confirmed by the CalVal QA and the respective science teams. So they're back up, is what they're saying. But not all the data's there yet. They're still reviewing for that. So I just thought I'd share that. But what I want to show down here is our A76 iceberg that we've been tracking. It broke off of the ice shelf May of 2021 during their winter. Here it is, A76. There he is, still pretty much intact. It's free of the ice. Here's some ice, but it's not, nothing's holding it in. And we're looking through a cloud layer here. Here's yesterday. That's a pretty good view. The colors are weird because the sun is at an angle. So here he is on the 9th. Oh wait, what am I doing? That's the 10th. Here's the 11th. Look at that. Look at the cut and paste with pinking shears. Here's the 12th. Look. Yay. Here's, cloudy yesterday. Partly cloudy today, but there he is. He is moving. So he didn't get caught up in the big mass of sea ice. Now, someone left a comment saying, how big is A76? Well, you know, it's just as easy for anybody else to Google that as it is for me. So, you know, I'm trying to teach everybody how to do some of your own research here. So, I didn't respond to that comment, but I did do a search, and here's what I came up with that anybody could come up with. So I encourage, you know, if you want to find out, just put in how big is A76 iceberg, and here it is, A76 in Wikipedia, and there are all these headlines. Meet the world's largest iceberg from the European Space Agency. I mean, you just see the headlines and you don't even have to click on anything. Say hello to the world's biggest iceberg. That was from Earth Sky. And in May 26, 2021, an enormous iceberg named A76 is now the biggest iceberg on Earth. The berg broke off from the western side of Antarctica's Roni's ice shelf. So, you know, it's just as easy for you to look this up as it is for me to look it up and I encourage you, look it up yourself. A76, world's largest floating iceberg, calved from the Filchner-Ronne ice shelf in Antarctica, mid-May 2021. According to the news, the new iceberg, effectively a piece of floating ice shelf detached from the western side of the ice shelf, it now floats in the Weddell Sea. The iceberg is about 170 kilometers long, and that translates into 110 miles, and 25 kilometers wide, or 16 miles wide, and is described as being shaped like a giant ironing board. The size at calving was an estimated 4,320 square kilometers, or 1,670 square miles. By day 148, the iceberg consisted of 3 fragments, A76A, B, and C. And there's where it broke off. It broke off during the winter time. So, I don't know how big it is now. You can look it up. But that's how big it was at the beginning. So, there it is. It's lost some on the edge there. See, that line is at an angle. Just to come more straight around. Okay, now let's move on to the Arctic. Okay, this is sea ice concentration today. And we turned off the clouds. So this matches up with the models that we've just seen, with it disintegrating here north of the North Pole, and really this whole area is coming apart. And here's the Beaufort Sea, Chukchi Sea, and then this East Siberian Sea. And here, if we zoom in, we're seeing mainly pinks, just a little spot of white here, and a little few dots around, meaning that it's most concentrated or well put together. Doesn't mean that it's thick, it means that it's concentrated ice, not a lot of openings. And so the more pink you see, and darker pink and moving into red, that means that it's coming apart. You can see in these tributaries, this is pretty much open. See, this is one of the main passages in the Northwest Passage, right here, straight up. That's one of the, it's just a straight shot almost. So, no problem. No problemo. And then this other one, that's open. No problemo for the $34,000 expedition, adventure expedition, for a seat on that. That should be launching any time now. So let's go back to last Sunday. Here we were last Sunday. So we'll just click through and see what's happened this week. So here's Sunday. Here's Monday, Tuesday. Wow, look at that. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then today. So there's that. Now here are the clouds. Satellite view. So where to start? This is an exceptionally good view of the northern coastline of Greenland here. Look at this. Open, open, open. See how that's pulled away? Open, open. All the way across. And that's the northeast edge there. Kind of hard to see the melt ponds right now. We've got a cloud layer, but can make it out there. Here we go. See the blue? Those are melt ponds where the ice has melted and it's water on the surface. Here's the nearest strait. Look at this. And let's see. That's the Lincoln Sea. Look. See this? It's flowing down. Flowing down. Oh, this is the Lincoln Sea. Here it is. Look at that breaking up. Now we've got a cloud layer there. That's a lot of open water, really. So you can see. How can that be? How can that go from one day, the 12th, to the 13th? And looking through that cloud, you can, I mean, look at that, just magically opened up. Let's look at the nighttime layer, see if that'll show us anything. No, we've got clouds, but there's, I mean, you can see the dark. There's a lot of open water there. So there it is today. Turn that off. See, that's just like all of a sudden that's coming apart. And coming down through the nearest strait. Look at this. See? That can just go right through. Here's our rain cloud. up in the North Baffin Bay today. Let's move on. Here's Svalbard. See, free and clear. Here's this east edge of the ice. Look at this. Okay, as we move up, we've got a good view. See, here's where it's coming apart. Look at this. Here's the hole opening up. See. See. Look at this. A lot of open water. So here's the North Pole, so it's a lot of this starting up right around up here. Huge area. Also, I mean, it goes way out. See, this is, you can see between the clouds, all that open water. Or I mean, through the clouds. Here it was yesterday. Look at this. See. And see. So this whole area is just coming apart. See. Go back to today. And here's this edge. See. There's the edge. There's the edge, see? See how far in this has come? And there's a circle here where it's come in. Here's the edge. Here's a cut and paste. Nothing matches up. Here's New Siberian Islands. Look at this today. This is probably one of the clearest views we've had of this Laptev Sea. Here's the Taimyr Peninsula. And here's a cloud. But there's nothing. There's no ice here. See, all around the coast. See the green, that's algae growing. And here's the ice. And this is this East Siberian Sea. That's coming apart. See? Here's the coastline. See, that's open. There's the coastline. Here's yesterday. Got a little bit of ice there. And then today, here's the Bering Strait. Look at that. That's open. These are all clouds. Clouds, clouds. And here's some ice. Barely. See, there's just so much open water. Here's Alaska. See, that's just wispy ice. I mean, that's just so thin. Just a little slush. Not even good-sized pieces there. So this is the collapse of the Beaufort Sea, literally. Now we've got some pieces, but open water. Look at that. And here's Canada. Clouds. Here's Ellesmere Island. And we're back to Greenland. I wanted to see. It's too cloudy. Here's yesterday in the Beaufort Sea. Look at that. See. Not good ice. What ice is there? Here's Ellesmere yesterday. See? Oops. Here, around the coastline. See. Novaya Zemlya. It's open. Open. No ice. It was raining up here this week. But they didn't expect that. Here's the Yama Peninsula. Here's Severnaya Zemlya. And here's Komsomolets. This is where that methane is just billowing. And also in the North Kara Sea there. But all around this area. The big methane billowing activity. Too cloudy. Can't see anything this week. There's the 11th. Okay. So that's what we've got. Here's the North Pole. Look at this view. You can look at that. You can see the open water. See the dark? That's open water. See here. So according to the Navy model, that's about 1 meter thick. Look at this. Open water. So that's what we've got. So we'll just keep tracking it. See what happens for the rest of the summer. Now, let's see if anything else has happened with earthquakes today. We've got 215 right now. Let's look at 7 days. All magnitudes. Look at this. 1,976 this week. So the South Sandwich Island region, that's picking back up. See, quite a few down there. This is constant on the coast of South America. We had a lot of movement on the Juan de Fuca plate this week. Look at all of this all the way up, and also here at the fulcrum point, but 4.6 on the north end, 4.3 in the southern part, and then 3s. And we also had down here at Walker, California, we had some swarming going on. This started up, I can't remember if it was last year. I think it was last year that this started going off. Around the times that there were fires down here too. And so it's still been going off, you know, a little bit here and there, but they had 155 this week right in this area, and most of it was within like a 2-day period. And let's see. There's the 8th. See when this started. There's quite a few for the 8th. And then there's the 9th. I can't remember what day it was. But there was, I think it was the 9th. The 9th that there were so many. There at one point there were like 65 in a 24-hour period. But this is an area we're watching. 155. And they weren't that big. 2s and 1s. Let's see. 4.5. That's what kicked it off. That was on the 8th. So that's when it kicked it off. So maybe all of that after that, it's been like aftershocks. So that was on the 8th at 1:44 in the afternoon, 5 kilometers deep. So that's bigger than we normally see there. So that was of interest. We also had West Texas, 32 here in West Texas. 4.5. Again, a larger number than we've seen, a larger magnitude. That was on the 11th, 6 kilometers deep. And mainly 2s, a couple of 3s in there. And what else of note? Oh, here was something weird that I saw here at the Philippines. Look at these 3 all in a straight line, and they were all around the same time, and all 5s. This was a 5.1 on the 12th, 5.8 on the 12th, and 5.7 on the 13th. So I thought that was a little unusual. Normally we don't see them lined up in a straight line like that. And then we had these 2 6s in the last 24 hours. Those were the biggest ones this week. And then there's our one Arctic earthquake. And here's one in the North Atlantic, 4.4. And so on. Here's some 5s. 5.3. This was in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Libya. 5.0, Ozone, Turkey, so on. Here's 2 5s in China. 5.0, Northern Qinghai, China. 5.0 Nagu, 5.5 Nagu, China. So just all kinds of movement. So there's that. Now we'll bring things back to spiritual focus. The reason I do these shows is to show how far along we are in the end times. And these times were prophesied of by Jesus and others. But these are signs of the end times with what we're seeing in the abrupt climate, irreversible climate disaster, and the earthquakes, volcanoes, melting of the ice. There are going to be land masses shifting as tectonic plates move more and more. So this is why I'm doing these shows, to show people how far along we are and realize that we are in the end times. And if you follow the Bible and Revelation, things don't end well for the dark side. They just don't end well for the dark side when Jesus returns. So I recommend everyone give your life to Jesus Christ and start reading the Bible and learning how to listen, communicate with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Have them guide you and protect you. So tonight we're continuing to read out of one of the books of the Apocrypha called Wisdom, and this was written by King Solomon. Wisdom chapter 14. Again, one preparing himself to sail and about to pass through the raging waves calleth upon a piece of wood more rotten than the vessel that carried him. For verily desire of gain devised that, and the workman built it by his skill. But thy providence, O Father, governeth it. For thou hast made a way in the sea, and a safe path in the waves, shewing that thou canst save from all danger, yea, though a man went to sea without art. Nevertheless, thou wouldest not that the works of thy wisdom should be idle, and therefore do men commit their lives to a small piece of wood, and passing the rough sea in a weak vessel are saved. For in the old time also, when the proud giants perished, the hope of the world governed by thy hand escaped in a weak vessel, and left to all ages a seed of generation. For blessed is the wood whereby righteousness cometh, but that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it. He, because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, it was called God. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. And even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. Also the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition. For he, peradventure willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before was but honored. And this was an occasion to deceive the world, for men, serving either calamity or tyranny, did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revellings of strange rites, they kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness. For the worshipping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. For insomuch as their trust is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. Howbeit for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners, that punisheth always the offense of the ungodly. Wisdom chapter 14. So I recommend that you keep holy company, and if you can't keep holy company, it's better to be alone and be in prayer and meditation rather than being with unholy company, especially in these dark times that are upon us. So I hope everyone makes it through the week as well as possible. I'm praying for all of you, and I love you all. And God willing, we'll do this again next Sunday. And until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.